Greetings, greetings, greetings. TGIF, everyone. How are you? How are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? That's what I would like to know. Are you doing all right? Are you enjoying the weather? What's going on? You all some good people? I'm hoping you're doing well. There's a lot going on in the news, but the funny thing is I can't keep up with it because it's like whatever's in my mind, the next day some more stuff happened and pushes that out, and I only remember that particular day. But with all this Kwame Brown stuff going on, I don't remember nothing. I just been enjoying listening to him. Do you know how nice it is to hear a man talk? You just don't hear a man talk nowadays. Now, that's no disrespect to any of you guys listening, because I know all of you guys are, good gentlemen, six figures, all those type of things that we hear on YouTube. Ha ha ha. But no, what I'm saying is this gentleman has been minding his business, doing his thing, and he had enough. So to hear him speak after he has been quiet and mind his business and he's had enough, it's been beautiful. It's just been beautiful. So that's all on my mind. I don't recall anything else. I do hear helicopters because of the what's going on in, is it Palatine? Somewhere. Where is it at? You know where it is. Let me see. It's a rally that's held downtown Chicago. It's called Justice for Palatine. Palestine. I'm thinking of Palatine as far as the suburbs of Chicago. Palestine, my bad. You know what I meant. But we did get a donation while we weren't on the air, so we got to, play the sound bite. So you know how it sounds. If you don't, I know it's been a while, but this is how it sounds. Thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you and funding the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. All right. Let's see. What else do I know that's going on? I don't know. I just don't know anything else that's happening. Look at that. See? Don Teasy. Lord have mercy. I can't even start the show without being bothered. I don't know what it is. So I tried to be nice, but no. He just wants to come after me. I got something for you. Now you starting up. I'm watching you. I'm watching you, Don Teasy. But greetings. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate your support. But tonight I got a letter, and it's with the police. It's about police, and I got upset about that. What was that? Late last month, about all this stuff going on with the police. I just got upset. So I got a letter from a woman, and we're going to play that tonight. But without further ado, we're going to bring the lovely lady up. And since we're not going to have the Saturday article reaction for a couple of weeks, instead of me saving her intro, I got a nice intro for her. I think she's going to like it. I think so. Let's see. Let's see.
Stay down there, girl. Stay down there.
Stay down there. Yes.
Classic Ruby, everybody. Classic Ruby.
Yes. Best intro ever in life. Oh my God. I started laughing and smiling and joking all at once. As soon as it started, I'm like, oh God, thank God I'm muted. Y'all, you wouldn't even have been able to hear what was going on. That was great. That was kudos to you, Char. Applause. I need to get a soundboard so I can applaud you when you do amazing things like that. So thank you very much for that.
Welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. That's like the best part, and I didn't mention it on the radio, but that's like my favorite thing. Stay down there, girl. stay down there. Like it's like the import for you to be down on the ground while whining. Like you better stay down there. Like your life is counting on it. I don't know. Oh, Spice. I'm tickled. I'm just tickled.
I am glad.
Yeah,
Glad it
no,
made you feel well. Good, very
it
good.
it did its job. It definitely did its job. I came onto the show today with some info for you, but now it's like I almost forgot. I had to like remind myself. Wait, what was I gonna say? So, I was talking to a friend of mine, right? And they were talking. I'm not gonna tell you the specific topic we
Hmm.
were talking about till afterwards, right? But they said Charizard, and I was like, oh, this guy. I explained it the whole Danteezy thing and Danteezy Char war and whatever. And I said that's what he calls her, right?
Hmm.
And he's like, yeah, that's a Pokemon. That's a Pokemon. The Char. This whole
What?
entire time, Danteezy's been calling you a Pokemon character. Yes, yes,
What?
girl, yes, yes.
Oh, it's on now. It's on now. I'm
Girl,
coming to get you. I'm coming to get you.
right? It reminds me of that time I told y'all I was dating a guy for like 4 years, and he told me I can't remember what Jamaican cuss word it was. I didn't know that it meant basically, the female anatomy. I didn't know that's what it meant. And
Oh,
so, oh, that's what Fossey. That's what it was. And so he's like, "Don't worry, it's good, it's good." So that was his pet name for me. And he didn't say like messed up and said it in front of someone once. They're like, "Why do you let him call you that?" I'm like, "He said it's a good thing. It's like a pet name in Jamaica." He's like, "That's no, that it's like Fossey hole, like vagina hole." Oh, I let him call me that for like 4 years. That's what this reminds me of.
wow.
Dottie has been calling you Charizard for as long as I can remember. He's been calling you a Pokemon for like 4 years. I bet you he giggles to himself every time. We got you. We see you, Darteezy. We see you.
But you know what? I'm gonna let it slide. I'm not gonna have that plane ticket. I'm not gonna do nothing this time. See,
Mhm.
it's only like really one name I don't never want to be called, but I'm gonna let you slide on that. I know it's nothing but love, nothing but love.
That's right. See, I might be a snitch, but it's all right. I don't care. You call me whatever you want to call me. After that intro, Shaw's gonna get all the snitching from me. Y'all better not tell me nothing, because I'm gonna tell Shaw right away. Did y'all see that intro? Go down there, right there, go down there. Yes, girl. Stay down there, girl. Stay down there. Okay, I'm good.
All right. Well, it is definitely Happy Friday, everybody. You can see that. My drink is still chilling. I haven't opened it up yet. So hey, we started already. Just don't seem like it. But
Mhm.
I guess spiritually we already started. Sip sip. But
Yes, ma'am.
we do have a letter today, and it's serious talk. It really is. Young lady, she's concerned about her sons and the
Mhm.
police. And it breaks my heart. I do not have all the answers. I only have maybe one answer, and that's just from a couple of meetings I had with a couple of guys. But we're going to get into it. Hopefully, some people can come and give their ideas as well. And then I have a video to share of a mother, and she definitely showing concern of her. I think her son is 18, something like that. But let me go ahead and share my screen, get that going,
All right.
and make sure I share the audio. And I know they do that on purpose because, you could have something and don't mean to share it. Pick the wrong Chrome
Mhm.
tab or whatever, and it'll be playing. It could be some copywritten or, something. So I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I know, but still.
It is one extra step, but I do get it. I,
Mhm. Mhm.
I do get it. All right, good people. Here we go. Today I have a letter from a young woman, and she's concerned about police. And during this climate, I definitely understand. And she writes, Dear Shar, I ask for your opinion on a very pressing matter. In light of all the attacks on black people in general, black men, black boys in particular, by the police, I keep hearing from other black people in many spaces that black people should just comply. As a mother, I feel conflicted about that statement. I don't want to tell my children that they have to basically kowtow to the police in order not to be murdered. I also don't want them to be murdered for exercising their right to challenge the police that are in the wrong. I especially don't want to teach my sons as they grow into men that they have to demean themselves and to take the degradation from people that they think they are better than them, or have them living in fear of these terrorists with badges. I would greatly appreciate your thoughts on the matter. Thank All right.
Hmm.
Well, my thoughts on the matter, I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. It's made me very upset when that lieutenant, and I can't think of his last name. I know it's Carry On. I can't think of his last name. And that made me so upset to see he did everything he was supposed to do. He had his
Mhm.
hands held out, calm and everything, asking, What's going on? What happened? What's going on? Can you tell me what's going on? The man was calm and everything, and that dude just, You gonna ride the lightning, son? Just acting a damn fool. And it really upset me because we see these stories all the time that our young men, a lot of them don't make it home. We see
Mhm.
this all the time, and it really upset me. That's really, my thoughts about it. So, I mentioned before that I decided when I saw, um, you know, YouTube or different spaces doing conversations. I said, you know what? These guys sit around a lot of hours talking about different things. And normally it's about, women or whatever. I'm like, let me see if they have any energy to use and come up with something where they can protect themselves. Now, I did reach out to those that I think that would help to get some things started. And then from there, hopefully it'll trickle on. And then some of the other people will, join in. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm. You know, my answer is quite simple. There's a difference between what you like and what makes you comfortable versus what keeps you alive. And so, as much as I would love to be on the side to say, yeah, you should have to kowtow to them. They're in the wrong. Sure, they are in the wrong, and you'll still be just as dead. Now, with that being said, does kowtowing 100% save you? No, as we have seen countless videos, not just of men being brutally attacked, of them literally being arrested and now getting criminal records when they're completely innocent and they didn't resist arrest. And then, of course, they always put resisting arrest on there to validate why it is that they beat up someone who did nothing wrong. Um, but
Right.
also, you could end up dead. But, I think at the end of the day, and, I watch the Young Turks sometimes. And, I remember watching about 5 years ago, it was the first time I heard them say it. And I said, that's so true. They said the biggest crime in America is disrespecting a police officer. And that's what it comes down to. When police officers feel disrespected, that is the time that the bad apples are going to turn and do something bad to you. And because of the thin blue line, there will be no repercussions. I mean, there was a young man who was shot in the back of his head. Sure, fine. In this case, he had done something and they were there to serve a warrant and an arrest warrant on him. He decided he didn't want to get arrested. So he decided he's going to drive away. The family finally got to see the body cam footage, and which showed he wasn't shot as he was driving towards the cops. He was shot as he was driving away from the cops. He was shot in the back of the head and he died.
Mm.
And so the governor Now, that state basically put into law and said, listen, if you are in a car, this is literally the law now. I'm not kidding. If you are in a car and the police say, well, a car is a dangerous weapon, therefore I feared for my life, they have the right to murder you. Sitting right there. Your car could be totally idle. It could be stationary. It could be off.
Mm.
It could be facing away from them. You could be driving away from them. They have basically written into law now that it is okay for them to shoot you if you're in a car, period. They've written this into law.
Wow. Oh my
Okay?
goodness. I didn't even see that. Wow.
Right. So now you think about, so because that's basically what they're saying, and this is why the cops who shot Andrew Brown Jr., that's the man who was shot in the back of the head,
Mhm.
why they're not going to face any charges, right? And said, nope, sorry, I don't care. A car is technically a dangerous weapon. So even if the car was idle, even if it was off and idle at the time, and they shot him in the back of the head, they still would have been justified. That's what they have now said. So now you got to look at it and say, hey, listen, is it right? Is it okay? No. Should you have to, basically be kowtowing and kissing the boots of cops who are, in the wrong or whatever in order for you to make it home alive? No. But you know what? If you do make it home, you live to fight another day. And when I say live to fight another day, I mean there are other ways to fight, right? So if you are treated wrongly by the cops, you know what I mean? This is why that cell phone camera footage and stuff like that is so important for us to have, right? Because if you can
Yes.
get out of this wrong altercation alive, your next step should be to try to be pushing this on the media while you're trying to push it in court, while you're trying to push it to get them reprimanded and this, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you, a man, but men's automatic reaction is gonna be that they're gonna stand up and say, oh hell no, right? Especially black men, they're very proud men, and so they want to stand up, they want to fight back. But remember that as a black man, especially in America, right, the fact that you raise your voice, even if it's happily, right, is going to be seen as a threat. You're scary and you're a threat and da 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 da. That's what the media has been flooding people with for so
Yeah.
long,
Yeah. We
right?
know the language. When we hear when it's just if it's a person or their title, then
Mm-hmm.
we already know they're from the dominant society.
Yep.
If it's a child and there's no picture, we already know it's from the dominant society.
Mm-hmm.
We know the language and we know when they show something and when they don't. We see it all the time and you can't help but to see it. It's right there in your face. We're
Yep.
trained to. You can, and I even thought of, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the article reaction show. I think they should have a class. I think they should just literally have a class um, where you give scenarios and have the children to, pick A, B, or C and just see what they come up with. Then
Mm.
you'll see how at home they're taught or what
Mm-hmm.
they know from the media. You will see
Right.
that. I would like to really have that. They got all these darn studies and stuff. Let's study that. Let's start at 10 years old. I'll
Yeah.
start there. And then maybe 13. Now you're a teen. I want to try that. 15.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, yeah, no, I'm gonna go to 16 because you can get your driver's license. So 16. Then I want to get you at 18 before you graduate because I want to know if you've been stopped between 16 and 18.
Right.
I'm kind of curious to
Yeah.
see, and I want to have a little section in there where you can make comments and everything. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. They should definitely do that. I mean, you know what? And for people who say, "Oh, that would be too time consuming or not possible," hey, they did a study starting like 70 years ago. So I can't remember exactly when it started, where they just decided to follow. I think it was it 7 kids or 11 kids, right, from various socioeconomic backgrounds and blah blah blah, from basically the first day of grade school until present day. And they follow up with them every 5 or 10 years, right, and just see
Hmm.
where did their lives go and so on and so forth. They could do the exact same thing. They could pick maybe 100 kids per state, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
start in the first grade, right? And then you get to see, you find out what do they watch, what are they exposed to, what do their parents listen to when they're in the car, so on and so forth. And then what are their opinions, what are their views, and whatever, and just follow them every 5 to 10 years, and then see how their opinions have changed and how their exposure has changed, and see. Because if it's the media, if it's them being flooded with the BS from, mainstream news and this and that, that's changing their opinion of things, it's gonna show.
Exactly. And I think
Absolutely.
those age groups are pivotal. Now, think about tracking. You think that's too time consuming? Isn't that how you market to the kids?
Hmm.
I know that's how you market to them. So why can't you use the email address? Now, kids may change their phone number quite often, but they normally don't change their email address. So now
Right.
you have electronic email. When you're in school, you assign a email. At least I know in college. I'm not sure about high school, but assign the children that's in school an email address.
Yeah.
So now you got that. So you're not going to lose them. Um,
Hmm.
Children also, they like social media. So they're gonna
Yep.
have an Instagram with the lips poked out, booty poked out, or something. Follow them right there. You can always get in touch with them. Facebook. I know. I think less kids are touching Facebook. That's for the older generation. I'm
Yeah.
told now.
Yeah.
So you can still find them. So it's
Hmm.
no excuses, none. And you haven't
Exactly.
even tried it before you denied it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because see, they only go and outrightly deny things that they don't want the answer to, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So at the time they did the study that they did because they in essence wanted to prove that for white people, because it wasn't for us, we weren't in the study, but for white people, and I think it was like in Britain or the UK, somewhere like that, but for white people, basically, if you don't give them the same opportunities and education and whatever, but also homing, as far as them having the foods and clothing and safety and security and stuff, that's going to impact their outcomes. So therefore we need to increase social welfare, we need to care more about these kids, and help them out, because otherwise we are basically putting them at a permanent disadvantage. And they wanted to prove that. That's
Hmm.
why they funded that study, right? And so it's the same thing. Why will they not even try? Why don't they even try? I mean, half the time we actually have enough data that we could analyze these results. We could. So why is it that they can't get funding to do it? Because they don't
Right.
want the answers. They don't want the answers. That's
Because
it.
you can even get volunteer people to volunteer.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse. It
Yeah.
doesn't cost that much. Somebody can
Hmm.
just say, you know what, I volunteer. I'll do it. Let me reach out to these 100 people. May
Yeah.
take me a week to get through all of them, or a couple of weeks, depends on how you got going on, your family size, or whatever. But you can
Right.
reach out to them and keep up with them. So no excuse.
Oh yeah, you could literally, I mean, think about it. When I say we have all the information, so the census is collected, right? And so
Hmm.
even though it's private, right? Like it's not like, oh, register with my name and my birth date and whatever, but they know where these things were dropped off, right? And they know where they're being collected from. So they have a generalized idea. This is how they start getting the idea of where certain neighborhoods, trends in certain neighborhoods and whatever, right? So just even from that information alone, plus what people fill out on those forms, as far as how much education they have and the different experiences they had, that they grew up poor. I mean, that census asks a lot of questions. Just from that, if they allowed us access to the raw data, not the raw data that they give us, right? Because they
Hmm.
only give us the information they want us to know. I'm saying the raw data, and let us analyze it. Now let's plug in some new stuff, right? I want to know if there's a trend between this and this. I want to know if there's a correlation between this and this. We could probably do it. But again, they don't want the information, because if they got the information, then first of all, it invalidates mainstream media. Why? Specifically, because even though they know it's been invalidated, it kind of hasn't, which is why the right wing still runs with it. But that whole idea that Black people are more aggressive and they're more likely to do violent crime and they're more likely to, live in poverty and commit crimes. But what they won't do, and it's very difficult to get them to admit it, right, is that crime is not associated with blackness, it's associated with poverty. And so this is why when you do look at the raw data that we have available to us, it's very clear. People who are impoverished commit more crimes. That's the connection. It has nothing to do with
Yes.
blackness at all, right? But they refuse to allow us to have the complete set of data that allows us to look at the middle class and above of black folk, right? They don't publish that. They only publish the stats on the impoverished black folk, right? Because they want us to know that. They want us to know how many black
Uh-huh.
people are poor. They want us to know how many black people are suffering. They want us to know how many black people ain't shit. They want us to know that. They don't want us
Yeah.
to know anything else. That's what it is.
Welcome, Vonda, to the panel. How are you?
Hey girl, hey.
Hey, Shar. Hey, Ruby. Thanks for having me. Well, I mean, this is, a really touchy subject and, one that, people are gonna, vary in different degrees as to, what to tell this woman. Um, for me, it's really simple. There's a lot of, horrible things that go on with the police, and I was raised really truly not to call the police for trivial matters. We're just having just an argument, a parking space, nothing stupid. We're not going to call the police for that. Now I'm going to call the police for life and death. Now if it's my life and someone else's death, at my hands, hey, let's call the police and let's get some assistance here. But yeah, distrust of the police. So my advice would be to tell your children, whenever they have police contact, to comply. Just simply put. And when I say comply, I mean let's just hope that they're not asking you to do some lewd or disgusting things. It's like, hey, pull over. Okay, you're gonna pull over when you didn't do anything. Yeah, can we get your license and registration? Okay, you're gonna give it to them even though you haven't done anything. That's really no moment for you to just break down and be like, what did I do? You need to tell me first before I roll down my window. And to me, I think that's going overboard. Just give them what they want. For me, it's very simple. I've been pulled over and I've been, okay, I don't know why you're pulling me over, but I get worried. I don't have any kind of a record, but I get worried. And where did I learn that from? It is a conditioning. Right. I was conditioned to this.
Yeah.
I've seen things happen with the police. I've been in situations, where, you're a teenage girl, you're riding around with boys who have, license, they have their own cars. So you're riding with them. We get pulled over. So the girls are like, oh, sitting there, why are you pulling us over? And, we're talking all this mess. The police are telling these dudes, hey, shut your girlfriends up. Because we're not gonna sit here and listen to this. We're gonna finish this questioning with you guys, but you need to shut them up. And I've been in that situation. So I know that they don't play fair, everybody's seen the Rodney King, thing. But it didn't matter how much he complied. I mean, they were beating him. What do you do? I mean, where's the handbook for when you're being beaten? How do you stay on the ground and not move?
Right.
Where's the handbook for that? How do you learn how to do that? And we told you to stay down. It's like, ugh. So my advice would be to comply. Not to lick boots. If it gets that serious, it's like, you know what? It's like, I wasn't meant to be here because I'm not doing that. But I'll show you my license. I'll show you my registration. You can do my plates. You can do whatever it is that you feel you need to do. I just don't want them putting their hands on me. I haven't done anything for them to put their hands on me. But then it comes to the point, what if they want to put their hands on me? What if they want me to get out the car? Then it's like, I'm going to be one of those YouTube videos where the woman gets tased and slammed all over the ground and scraped up and down the avenue, and she hadn't done anything wrong. And then before you know it, I'm hashtag, Sandra Bland, it's like, it's crazy. And those are the things that run through my mind, if blue and red lights come up behind me and I'm on the road.
Yeah. Welcome to the panel, Lady Neek. How are you?
Hey.
Hey, ladies. Hi, Vonda. Hi, Ruby.
Hey.
Greetings. You like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, this is real touchy for me. I know you ladies know, but the people listening may not know. I have four sons, um, from an adult son to a 5-year old. And
Mhm.
so when I hear conversations like this, it's like I get the whole comply thing. I get that, and my children are taught to respect people in general, not just the police, but just anybody that they come into contact with. Um, they are taught to respect them,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
sometimes that's not enough.
Right.
And I've had situations personally, like, you know, my brother was arrested for nothing. We lived in the Bronx, and they used to do what's called sweeps, right? And anybody standing out of place where they were doing a sweep was going downtown. My mother worked for law enforcement in New
Mm.
York City. She worked for the Department of Juvenile Justice, which was the kid portion of the, arm of the law. So
Mhm.
we were
Mhm.
taught to have a respect for law enforcement, but that did not save him from being beat up
Mm.
and everything else. So it bugs me when people say just comply and deal with it afterwards, because how many of these cops that get, you check into their background after they gone so far as to kill somebody, and they've got 18 complaints against them and nothing was ever done. So
Mhm.
just saying take care of it afterwards is like, what is that going to do? Most of these cops got complaints against them and nothing's ever done. There's no follow up by the powers that be. So your black complaint is going to fall on deaf ears. So complaining after the fact, I mean, I understand, just do whatever's necessary to get home. Give them your ID. Don't have an argument. Don't inflame the situation.
Mhm.
Don't agitate. Just do what you can. But sometimes that's not enough.
I agree with you. And do anyone want to add something to that? And then I'll play the next clip where a mother is showing her concern.
I just wanted to add to what Vonda said because we're talking about Rodney King, but and I don't know if anyone has seen it as of yet or heard of it at the time. A couple of years ago, a man, Ronald Green, brought the police on a high-speed chase, and that high-speed chase ended in his death. The family in the media were told, yeah, he drove into a pole and died. Well, now, 2 years later, body cam footage has come out that proves that no, he didn't actually die from the high speed chase. In fact, before he died, he was begging for his life. He was saying that he was just really scared. He was apologizing for having brought them on the high speed chase, and they tased him. Then told him he had to put his hands in the hair while they're tasing him, which is like impossible for them to do,
Yeah.
and then dragged him out of the car and beat him to death.
How do you do
So
Mm.
you want to talk about Rodney King? Rodney King is like the good old days when they beat you, but you lived. Oh no, now they're going to beat you to death and then lie to your parents about it. Like that. This is 2021 that we're finding this out. 2019 that this happened, right? So again, this is the issue with saying comply, even when you haven't done anything wrong, right? Because in this case, fine, he took the police on a high speed chase. He didn't want to get caught. Okay, whatever, right? But there are these cases that we hear that are just as grimy, with someone ending up shot and killed, and they literally didn't commit a crime. Literally, it was literally just a matter of the
fear?
biggest crime in the world, which is disrespecting the police. They said, I haven't done anything wrong, why should I have to show you my ID? I don't understand. What are you stopping me for? All I want you to do is tell me why you stopped me, and I'll show. They're staying calm. They're staying respectful. They're staying polite. You got white people who have whole YouTube channels doing this. They never get hurt. They never get shot. They never get tased. They never get arrested and brought downtown, right? But
Mhm.
our men do the same thing. Then they get murdered, and then the police go, I fear for my life. He had a gun. No gun in the car, no weapons in the car, nothing in the car. Well, what was the weapon? Well, now apparently, I think it's California that I was talking about earlier with Andre Brown Jr., right? Where, hey, now you sitting in your parked stationary car that is now a weapon, and they justifiably can murder you just for sitting in your idle car at the time that they approach you. That's how serious things are getting. So, on one side, and this is what I'm saying, I never, and if I implied that and it sounded that way, I'm not trying to say, well, if you were just comply, then everyone would live. I'm just
No, I don't
saying,
even think that. I just feel
no,
like when it comes to that, it's a better a chance only because
right,
there's nothing that has been written into any type of laws, legislature that would even protect you. So by the time you get pulled over, it's a little too late,
yes,
to get a light up under your ass. At that moment, it's like, okay, yeah, what do you need to see? Okay, here's my license, here's my registration.
yep,
Unless you're just going to completely manufacture some evidence, I haven't done anything, or if I'm speeding, just give me the ticket. It just is what it is.
yep. I mean, goddamn, they could say license or registration, and so you reach for your glove compartment to get license, registration, get shot. I mean, at the there. So I
Yeah, I've
mean,
seen
there
that.
isn't a win. Once you get pulled over, there isn't a win. There's no surefire win. There isn't, right? And that's part of the issue, right? On one side, I've heard men say, which is true, you show fear or whatever, then some cops react to that because they're predators, right? And they respond well to fear. And then I've heard other men say that, like, nah, they would rather die standing up for themselves, and so far it's worked out okay for them. I mean, and this is part of the issue, right? I wish there was a hard and fast rule, but there isn't.
No,
So
there isn't.
what
It's
do
a
we
case
do?
by case scenario.
Right, don't be black. That's it. Just don't be black in public, and you should be fine.
Right, and that truly is the bigger issue because it's
Yeah.
like you damned if you do, you damned if
If
you don't.
you don't,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And I like it's like the letter said, I find myself in the same predicament. Like, what do I tell my kids to do? I already tell them to, just do what you got to do. If you were speeding, give them, even if you don't think you did anything, you hand them your stuff. I've taught my son, like, have it ready when the cop pulls up. Don't wait till he comes to the car to pull your stuff out. So you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to reach for things. Have it
Yep.
out and accessible and ready. So they said, oh, we thought he was reaching for something. I
Mm-hmm.
do these precautionary things. My kids are already taught to speak to not just authority figures, because I don't even like saying that as it relates to police, like they have some godlike authority, but they're taught to address people like yes sir, no sir. That's how they talk to their father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they already have a built-in respect system that they know that they
Mhm.
give people just the general courtesy of due respect.
Right.
But we know some of these police officers, it don't matter what you do, they're gonna be the aggressors and agitating and like Shaw pointed out with the army lieutenant.
Yep.
They were
Yeah.
super aggressive from the second they stepped out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's no way to prepare your children for anything like that. And how can like it's gut wrenching to even think that I need to do something to prepare them for that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's really sad. Now, I'm gonna interrupt right here just to start the next video. It's a little lengthy. I don't know if we'll go to part two. It depends on the conversation. But um we are going to have a panel the following Saturday, which is the 29th, is it, or 27th? Get my
20,
days mixed.
29.
29th. Okay. So it'll be a women's panel where they'll get a chance to talk about if they've been stopped, what their experiences has been with police, as well as with their, and like in Lady Nika saying, children. So we'll get a chance to share that. I have some video. If you guys have any thing you want to share, bring along. You're welcome. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with the video here.
Alrighty.
Elk Grove police officer accused of harassing black teenager, part one.
Him your ticket. This officer is right here harassing my son. She already has his driver's license, registration, and car insurance in her hand. She's asking if he's on parole or probation. and he has to answer her. He said, no, he's not on parole or probation. I said, go give him the ticket, and she will not. She's just standing there. What are you waiting for, ma'am? For what? For a traffic violation? Okay, but you're making this dangerous. You're escalating it. Go give my son his ticket, and we will take care of this in court. You will not be the judge and executioner on this property right here. You will not. Go give my son his ticket. You have his ID. You can easily run his ID and see if he's on probation or parole. Not this child. Then go do your job. Why are you standing there? Why are you holding on to your gun? Why? Your hand is on your gun. Go run his ID. I'm being violent? No, I'm not being verbally aggressive. You will not change this up. You will not create the narrative here that we've been seeing on the news. If he ran a stop sign, that's what you're saying, we will happily take the ticket. But I will not allow my son to stand here in front of you with your hand on your gun. That will not happen. He's not leaving. He's standing right here. My son is not leaving. No, he's standing on our property line. We own this house. He's standing on our property line. You said he ran a stop sign, right? Go give him the ticket, and then you can leave in due time. You guys, she done called for backup and everything. Y'all share this video because my son will not be the next hashtag. Not gonna happen. If you're not going to give him the ticket, we're not going to stay out here. Then go give him the ticket. No, I'm not leaving my son in your hands with your hand on your gun. You are free to go give him a ticket. If he ran a stop sign, it's no point for this. You have his driver's license, registration, and insurance in your hand. You just looked at it. You're trying to question if he's on probation or parole because he's a black man? You can run his name and go give him his ticket. But you're not. You're not. You said you fear for your safety, but yeah, you could go to the car and give him your ticket, and it shouldn't take longer than 5 to 10 minutes. But you're not. My son will not be the next hashtag. It will not happen. You free to leave off our property, because if you slip and fall on this property, guess who's liable? It's us liable. So you're not going to give him the ticket? No, we're giving you reasonable enough time to identify him. Don't fold our paperwork. Please don't damage our paperwork. We're giving you a reasonable enough time to identify him. Look, y'all, she got his license right there. Got his license right there and still got to hold on to her gun. Got his license right there, but she still want to ask to identify him. Tanea, she's calling for backup. She calling for backup for whatever reason. Like, he literally got pulled over when we came outside. How long do you plan on just sitting here staring when you could go give him the ticket? No, you probably wouldn't, because I heard you on the radio yelling at him. I heard you on the radio yelling and screaming. That's why we stepped outside. I heard you. My son will not be victim to you guys. I'm sorry. It will not happen ever on my watch. Ever. Go give him the ticket. And look, you got 5 minutes to go give him the ticket, or else we're going inside. No, if you're not gonna identify him, give him the ticket, we're gonna go inside. He's not leaving. This all ours. This is all our property. He is not leaving. No, because he's at home. He's not leaving. You are the one that's gonna leave. Look, you blocking traffic. You parked right in the middle of the intersection. So you want to be a smart ass. Tanea, it's hard to calm down when I got a black son with the cop right here with her hand on her gun. We're in Elk Grove, California, in front of our own house. This our house. She says she not leaving. He is detained. She think he on probation or parole because he's another black man. Why don't you Google who he is?
For your information, we not all on probation or parole.
Right.
Never been on it.
We're not going inside. So are you going to give him the ticket? How long we been out here now? 10 minutes? Because Jessica, she said he ran a stop sign, but she kept on questioning if he's on probation or parole. He said no. She refuses to run his information to give him the ticket. So now she's just standing here. She done call for backup. And you see, this is what I tell you about white people. Don't trust them. Probably calling, she probably scared. Don't leave. She'll be all right. She'll come out the door in a minute. I ain't never seen nothing like this. And I feel so stupid because I'm always the one. She ain't gonna take her eyeglasses off. She's scared to take her hand off her gun. No, he looked like he on probation or parole because he a fucking black man. And my husband is recording it. We all out here, not on our watch. Sorry, y'all. My baby in the house and she's scared. Brookie, stop calling me. They think they gonna kill my baby? Not gonna happen. Oh, right. Over alleged ran a stop sign right there and she pulled him over and he was pulling in the driveway. No, because you're not racist. That's why, Rochelle. That's why you don't think that they all think like that. Because you're not racist. So it's a difference. But just to update you guys, this officer is holding us up. We in front of our house right here, in front of our house, pulled over my black son, yelling, "Are you on probation or parole?" He ran a stop sign, but yet she is refusing to give him a ticket, but he is detained, and she's just standing there. And that's what's going on right now. Now she done called for backup. That's what's going on right now. She don't know who she messing with. And then have the nerve to have on a Blue Lives Matter. Have the nerve to have on a Blue Lives Matter mask. Y'all, please watch this because she is refusing to give my son a ticket and has her hand on her gun. Give him the ticket. My son would not be another one of y'all hashtags. Y'all been in the bed all day with icy hot Flexeril, Motrin. My back went out on me, and now I'm dealing with this. She said 31350. We gonna Google that. Thank you for recording. It's our neighbor on the corner. She said he ran the stop sign, but she won't give him the ticket because she thinks he's on probation or parole, but she won't run his license. Give him the ticket. We'll fight this in court. It's not even an issue about the stop sign. We will literally fight this in court. She says that I'm escalating it. She's escalating it. That's exactly what I said. Thank you, Rochelle, for the share.
Get her tattoos on her ass. See how she's trying to cover them up?
Y'all see them tattoos? She just trigger happy. Look. She just trigger happy. She real trigger happy. Thank you, Maya. Y'all, I swear to God, y'all know all my son's accomplishments. He will not be the next hashtag going around on social media because this cop wants to stand here and do a standoff and not just give my son a ticket. Yeah, I see her tattoos. And she covering them up with the Blue Lives Matter. I see all of that. She won't run his name. Nothing.
What's your badge number? Can you read it out for him? Thank you.
My son's in front of my house, Jessica. We right here in front of the house. He was pulling into the driveway and he got pulled over. I told him to immediately, my son don't deal with that type of stuff. I told my son immediately get out his driver's license, registration, and insurance. So she won't try to, you see how trigger happy she is. So she won't try to tell him that he's reaching for a weapon because she said that she feel like her life is in jeopardy, but yet she still won't give him the ticket for running the stop sign. But she feels like her life is in jeopardy, and we've been standing out here for at least 5 to 10 minutes now. I know he's a good boy. She don't know it. Her badge number is 297 Elk Grove, California PD.
Her partner don't seem to think it's too important because if her life was in danger, he taking a coffee break, eating some donuts right now.
Makes no sense at all. Makes no sense at all. Exactly. Just write the ticket. We'll go in our house. Can you contact your supervisor? Hello? Officer Johnson, civil servant. Can you contact your supervisor? When? Yeah, have him come now because we don't appreciate this. Yes, we did, LaJoe. With her Blue Lives Matter mask on, the tattoos that she's trying to cover up underneath her watch, underneath the armband. And she says her life is in jeopardy, but she's the only one. We out here in pajamas. She's the only one. We heard this, her on a speaker. So we came outside. She waiting for us to make the wrong move so she can use her gun. That's why her hand is constantly on her gun. That's what she's waiting for, Joy. But she's saying her life is in danger. Yes, she's the only one out here with the gun. And her hand is on her gun. She has all the required documents to give him the ticket, but yet she is refusing to. I'm thankful he was by the house too. Luckily, he come over here 2 times a day to eat. Oh gosh, I'm in so much pain.
My question is, why does she keep on blinking?
Because she's
eyes are dilated too. Because
she's waiting. She's waiting for you to make the wrong move. He's just standing here, and I'm standing in front of him. His hands are by his side. First Lady, that's what I would like also. Give him the ticket. We will fight this in court. We ain't never had to endure this all the years we've been living here with Elk Grove PD. But I guess there's always one bad apple in the bunch. You got your phone on you?
No.
Hi, Joseph. Yeah, well, I can save this video and on call 911.
Here he come right now.
Where?
Right there. Second program.
I can't hear you, Tanea. Hello? Hi, I'm reporting a cop harassing us. We're at our residence and she is holding us hostage right now, and we are in fear for our lives right now. Because the cop has her hand on her gun. She is refusing to give my black son a ticket, and we've been standing here for about 10. Look, they almost got into an accident. We've been sitting here for 10, 20 minutes. Okay. So is this a speeding violation or they get pulled over? They got pulled up. My son got pulled over in front of our house, and we've been asking for the ticket, and she has refused to give us the ticket. What's your address, please? Here, tell her the address off the camera. We're trying to understand if he got pulled over for a stop sign, running a stop sign. She has all his documents. Why? No, I'm talking because you didn't want to talk to us. Why hasn't she wrote the ticket so we can move on? She has car registration, insurance, and driver's license. You don't have permission for the car. My son was driving. No, he's going to stay right here. Yes, he was driving, but the problem is she pulled him over. I told him immediately. I heard her on the loudspeaker, so we came out the garage. I told him immediately, take out your driver's license, get your registration and insurance. He has never had a police interaction before. Doesn't know, just hang up with them because they're not going to help. She was already being sarcastic. So I told him to get it out, hand it to her. She comes out with her hand on her gun. I said, come stand by me. My son would not be another hashtag. I said, okay, she said he was ran a stop sign. I said, give him the ticket. She just stood there. And then her hand was on her gun. Just constantly on her gun. Her finger was itching like this. And I'm like, give him the ticket and we'll take care of it in court. Not a big deal, right? We've been standing out here for at least 10, 20 minutes. I said, we've been living in Elk Grove forever. We have never had this type of police interaction before. She called for backup. My first name is irrelevant.
Well, I just want to talk to you like a person.
You could call me Miss.
Okay. So you understand this is not an ordinary interaction, right? So
how is it not ordinary? She pulled him over, write the ticket. She was asking if he was on probation parole. He said no. She said, are you sure? I need to know if you're on probation or parole. He said no. She said, well, if you're on probation or parole, you have to talk to me. He said no again. So what's not ordinary about that? That a black man is not on probation or parole?
The unordinary part is that you're in front of your own house and you're out here screaming at.
No, hold on. I'm not screaming. I'm talking.
Okay, you're worked up, right?
Okay. Hold on. You're not gonna patronize me, Officer Robinson, badge number 195.
Is that ordinarily when somebody gets pulled over, okay, they provide their driver's license, registration, insurance. The officer goes back, figures out, make sure they're not American most wanted.
She didn't do that. Okay. So he did that, but she didn't do that. No, I'm not yelling.
Because that's the ordinary.
But this is our house, so she can't make us leave our house.
No, you're right. Nobody's asking you to leave. But when people start,
she can't make us leave him here by himself. He don't know how to deal with this.
How old is he?
He's 19 years old in a senior at Sac State in a double major and a master's student right now at 19 years old. That's what he is. He is my black son. Look, y'all, another cop.
Do you understand?
And look, another one. No, she said immediately that she feared for her life. We've been asking her. We've been recording the whole time. Go write the traffic ticket. We will handle this in court. We will take care of this. She didn't even run his name, accusing him of being on probation or parole.
When did he step out of the car?
He stepped out of the car when she was back there.
Okay. So that's where the safety issue happens for us.
She's the only one with the gun, ma'am.
As soon as somebody steps out of the vehicle, it becomes a more elevated
But it's only elevated because she refused to give him the ticket, y'all. Now she's in there, right? He's in there writing the ticket. All our neighbors were out here videotaping her because they all seen her hand on her gun. I'm in my pajamas, he in his pajamas. We are no threat to her. She's the only one with weapons. Then she should have stayed in her car. She's the only one with the gun. All we asked for was the ticket.
She never said anything about calling another unit. She said
no.
She told us to go in the house.
And we said we on our property line right here. And literally, if you guys were to fall on this sidewalk, you guys could sue us. But it's unusual for somebody to keep their hand on their gun for a stop. All we're asking for is the ticket. Okay. That's all we want.
We don't know anything about you, right?
But we don't know anything about you. She got tattoos covered up and she pulled over my black son. The only thing we know will become hashtags, not this one. I invested too much. All we want is the ticket. She thinks he's on probation or parole. That's what she kept on saying. Just because he's black, he is not on probation or parole.
All you want to do is scream at me. I'm trying to explain to you.
It's nothing to explain. All we want is the ticket so I can take my son in the safety of our house. The officer told her to stand by and watch us.
They got K9 unit and everything. Next is coming to this SWAT.
It's crazy.
The K9 unit went to the other car. He's just riding in front of it.
I have never endured this with Elk Grove PD ever in my life. I know she's in the wrong. Are you the supervisor? You the sergeant? So you came here for her backup too?
All right, good people. So, black mother protecting her son. She stood in front. She talked. She recorded everything. I think it was a beautiful thing.
And she had every right to do that. I mean, her son, was pulled over for running a stoplight or a stop sign or whatever. This lady wanted to take it and escalate it, and stand there and just watch this lady. Okay, let's give him the ticket. He passed basically every test. This was an example of complying, but they were going to try to find a way to show that he was out of order and he deserved some sort of, type of brutality, whatever was coming. Why didn't this cop just write the ticket?
And this is my guess as far as not writing the ticket. It's more of you than it is of me. So I'm not going to walk away, take a chance of something happen or this Negro getting away.
I saw the other police car and I'm like, okay, so you have backup. Lady, write the ticket and leave these people alone. You'd rather stand here and listen to this woman's mouth go on and on. Now, if there's one thing that a black woman has, she has some, ability to keep the vocals going and going and going. And she was in every right to do that. But you want to stand here and listen to that? Write this man a ticket and go on. Or are you that stubborn in your unfairness and how you were treating this young man?
Now, Neek had put up she wrote in the comments section, I put it up. What if the mother wasn't there, the family wasn't there, or this young man was not in front of his home?
Whole different narrative would have come down the wire. Whole different narrative. Who knows?
Right. And these are the situations that I'm speaking of. It's like, God forbid, if one of my sons were in that same situation and there was no one there to record or speak up for them or be witness, or what will happen? There's no amount of complying I can say. You can clearly see she's holding the boy's documents. He's giving her the stuff she needs to write the ticket. Exactly. She's escalating this into some type of other situation. And you heard what the cop said. This is not an ordinary stop. Because she
why? It's like, why?
Some bogus call Ruby put in two things. You said 310 was like theft or false documents.
Yeah.
So you're
31,
making
31 was false documents. So she said first the documents she received for his driving or car, whatever, were false. And then the 350 is theft. So those are the two things she called in.
right.
Yeah.
So she called in a fake crime to justify what
Wow.
she's doing to them. And these are the situations I'm talking about. And this happens more often than we think it does. So when
Oh,
we
I
just say,
believe
oh,
it.
just comply and try to get out of there, like, yeah, you can. But at the same time, it's like I said earlier, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm at a loss for words at this, and that's how I feel when I am speaking to my sons. Like, what do you tell them?
And that's where you are at a loss for words, for the simple fact because we don't have any control in that situation. That's why my first mind is to comply first, because to object is, almost guaranteed,
Right,
getting
right,
shot. It's like, okay, well, all you had to do is say no. Oh, I fear for my life. He told me no. We seen it happen for less than that. It's like, give me a break. But like you say, even if you do comply, it depends on what hair they have up there behind that day.
right.
I'm gonna
Yep.
find something on you regardless. So, I'm just gonna stand here. I would have wrote that ticket so fast. The minute this woman started speaking, he would have got that
Mhm.
ticket so quick. I'd be like, "Oh my god, yeah, I pulled over the wrong one. Here, so I can get her out of here." But you know what? She did exactly what she was supposed to do. I mean, that's her son. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to stand here and I'm not going to say anything. You're doing this in my face. Here's his record. I know my son. You're pulling him over for, a mild traffic violation. Give him the ticket and leave us alone.
Right,
You're
right,
harassing us. You're harassing us.
Right. But see, again, this is part of the issue. Is that when cops say anything, their word is taken as being true, right?
right,
Why would a cop
exactly.
lie about such a thing? What do you mean, why would she lie? She's wearing a Blue Lives Matter mask, right, on her face and is harassing a kid. Why? Not because he ran a stop sign, but because she thought she saw an easy mark, an easy arrest. Why? Because all black people must be on probation or parole. Because all black people are criminals. Because all black men ain't shit. That
But,
was ultimately all it was. She didn't even go confirm the paperwork. And I'm telling you, a big part of it is there is a large part of her mind that assumed that that just must be bullshit. It must be bullshit because black people ain't shit. And so that is what you're starting with. You are
Hmm.
starting with a clan, basically. I'm not talking about KKK. This is a whole different clan. I'm talking about you're starting with a clan of people, right, who have their Blue Lives Matter mask on, wearing those proudly, basically telling you that no, in their job, black lives don't matter at
right,
all. Our
right,
lives
exactly.
matter. Don't
Mhm.
get it twisted. A, okay? And then B, what she's telling you is all of her preconceptions and all of her biases. So they live in a nice neighborhood and whatever. Maybe it's like one of those interracial neighborhoods, not too many black people there and whatever, right? All black people ain't shit. The end. That's it. That was it. If that kid was anywhere else, to at the very least, he would have been tasered and stomped. Easy,
Right,
easy.
right.
At the very least.
But they not only think black people ain't shit, but there's also a component where they will look at him and see, oh, he's in a nice car. I don't know, initially when she pulled him over, she may not have known if he lived in the neighborhood or not. But once she sees
Right.
his documents, like, oh, how dare you live in a nice neighborhood? Black
Mm-hmm.
people aren't supposed to have nice things. They aren't supposed to do well. They have
Mm,
that type of mentality also. So I'm gonna show you. I don't care how nice your car is. I'm still in charge. I don't care how
right.
nice your house is. I'm still in charge.
Yep.
I can do what I want to you. Your money isn't going to save you. I have done hundreds of racism workshops with these people, with these same police officers, parole officers, people that work in like social services. And I'm telling you, I've had experiences that you would not believe what some of these people say out of their mouth openly in a
Mm-hmm.
setting where This is part of their job. The job forced them to take this training, and they openly say, I had one cop tell me, "Oh, I was working in a certain town up here in upstate New York, all white, small town, and there wasn't enough action. So I transferred to the black neighborhood because he wanted to be in situations where he could pull his gun on people."
Oh
Mm-hmm.
my
Like,
God.
he openly admitted that. And I said to his face, "You don't need to be a cop." Like, I'm scared for the people that are on your route wherever you police.
Yeah.
If
Well,
that's your goal, is to get into a situation where you can pull out your gun and you're saying it like it's normal, because for them it is. That's the culture there. And as much as some of these police officers want to deny that that's a thing, it is definitely a thing.
yeah. Well, remember that the police, there are tests in order for you to get into the academy. I know it seems like there might not be, but there is. And so, with the exception of course, all these places that you can work, some of them indefinitely, some of them up to like a year or two, with zero training at all. Zero training. She might be someone who has zero training, because remember, the most places in America, you can work a minimum of like a month to 6 months to 2 years. I saw 1 year a lot of times when I was looking at that fact form, and I'll post it in the chat in a minute. But when I was looking at that fact, I saw a lot of places you needed zero training to go and be given a badge and a gun to go patrol the street. So remember that as well. But keep in mind that they do psychological profiling when they're accepting people or denying people from the force. They are looking for certain traits and characteristics, right? So like, you're military trained, okay, cool. But other than that, they're looking for high violence and high loyalty and compliance to an authority figure, which would be their boss, with low levels of individualistic thinking. I'm sorry, but that's ultimately what they're looking for. This is what people who you would think for sure would be able to get in. They're brilliant people, they're well skilled, and blah blah blah, get rejected from the academy, and you're like, how? Right? Well, because they're not looking for someone who would think critically and for themselves and might push back and push boundaries and so on and so forth, right? They're trying to judge people they think are going to come in and fall behind the thin blue line, right? And won't think too hard when someone tells them to do something reprehensible, or when their partner does something reprehensible, right? They'll just be able to get on board with it, because they don't really want to shake the status quo. They don't want to change anything. And this is again where we come down to, I'm sorry, I'm not saying every cop is bad. I'm not. But I am saying it's not a bad apple here and there. There are whole departments. There are whole like in like one city, you might have one station that is decent and the others, every other station is corrupt. There's so much corruption, right? There's so much corruption. There's so many people who feel small, and yet you give them this badge and gun, so now they can finally feel entitled and powerful for the first time in their lives. They were bullied as kids. They were, let down a lot in life. They don't make that much. And now they see some black person they were told is the person stealing their money and their jobs and their opportunity for school and this and that, even though they barely got through high school. But, some black person took their spot in college. So now they finally can fight back, right? You get these mentalities. You get these mentalities all over the place, and they bond together, and they are the majority. Because if they weren't the majority, then every time we hear of these horrific things that the police do, we would be hearing about people getting fired left, right, and center. Not the ones who did it, but the ones who were speaking up against it, the ones who were fighting back. Because every time we hear of someone fighting back, what happens? They lose their job, right? Every time a cop tries to stop another cop from beating someone to death for no good reason, what happened? The last one was on the news. She lost her job, lost her pension, lost everything, even though she was the one in the right, right? But we don't hear of them losing their jobs. Why? Because no one's the good apple. No one's the one with conscience. At the very least, they are all standing by and watching it happen, and then finding a way to live with themselves and sleep well at night. So, yeah.
It's some hot and a mess. We got two things. We have a donation here, so we got to hit the button. You know how we do it over here. Thank you so much for your contribution. Appreciate it. And then we have another person that added to the panel, want to get in the conversation. Greetings, Mr. Gray. How are you?
Hello.
And greetings, esteemed Lady Shaw, Lady Ruby,
Hey,
Rhonda,
hey.
Greetings.
Neek,
Welcome,
Hotep,
welcome.
Oh, Mr. Gray.
I say, Namaste.
Greetings.
Every time. You know what's interesting about this video is every time, and if you notice the icon that I'm using today, there's actually a picture of our latest victim here in the Twin Cities, Dante Wright, and his young daughter. There's only about a year old, well, under a
Hmm.
year old, literally a baby raising a baby. um, being gifted a car by his mother so he could be a more productive young father,
Hmm.
and being assassinated. And I'm using that term quite directly. And the reason I'm saying assassinated because the person that killed him, the piece of shit that killed him, was a 26-year veteran on the force.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. Now, how many of you guys remember the show I did when I asked whether uh, it was the old slave patrol or is it big buck hunting?
Sounds
Whenever you,
familiar.
I remember that
whenever,
show.
when you really look at this video, this is big buck hunting. She was stalking her prey. She thought that she had a soft target.
Hmm.
You understand the mentality here. And when you understand that that mask that she's wearing, that blue lives matter mask,
Uh-huh.
that's actually illegal in most states. And I know in the state of California, as well as the state of New York, as well as in the DMV area, because we just had a legislation here where those blue lives matter masks are illegal for police officers to wear.
Oh, wow.
Really? Hmm.
She's not even supposed to be wearing that.
Hmm.
But it's showing you very clearly the mindset. I think this certain type of way. Blue lives matter. It's really what a reaction to what Black lives matter.
Right.
Okay.
In other words, I am placing myself on the oppositional side of the chessboard, in which now I'm making you an adversary because you're black. You must be Black Lives Matter. But because you're black, you must be on parole or probation. Why? Why is that? Because one
Hmm.
third of black males, literally above the age 14, are what? Either on probation, parole, or in prison.
Okay.
That's one third of black males between the ages of 14 and 55.
Mm.
So the chances of them pulling over, what is he doing in such a nice car, in such a nice neighborhood? I don't
Right.
live in such a nice neighborhood. My son is about his age, doesn't drive such a nice car.
Exactly.
This was a shakedown.
Oh my goodness.
Facts.
Wow.
This was a shakedown.
Wow, that's terrible.
Got one more contribution. Thank you so much.
Epic every time.
Right?
Yeah, this is terrorism in its purest form.
But see, it's so interesting. I remember saying it even about 5 years ago on a BTS panel. That if you look at the way America executes foreign policy, and then you look at the way domestic policy is with policing, they're like mirror images of one another. It's almost the same thing. What happens in foreign policy? Remember, I was actually a part of the Global War on Terror, OEF, OIF. Those are Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was on the expeditions when they were trying to reform a new naval intelligence service. Why? Because they felt the need to use a softer hand because the CIA was more like a bludgeon. That's causing so many international incidents, which is why you see so many war crimes, like those SEALs that killed those innocents. Matter of fact, they were following orders from their upper chain, but yet they don't prosecute the upper chain. They prosecute the man who followed the orders.
Mm.
You see, and when you look at Derek Chauvin,
Mm-hmm.
he sat there with his knee on a guy's neck, 8 minutes and some change. He's looking with that smug look on his face.
Yeah.
And then you look at the way she's standing, all smugly. I'm not moving anywhere with my hand on my gun. You're gonna move out of the way of my hunt. Therefore, she tells them, you two can go back in the house. Fuck, fuck all of that. Fuck all that shit that they talking about. But see, if you really look at this, this actually displays the power that a mother has in the defense of her cubs. While you have on one
Mhm.
side a group of derelict Negro males in a masturbatory circle jerk telling you that these black mamas are the ones that fucked up the community, but
Mhm.
you can clearly see it doesn't matter if you're a black man that has both of your parents in the household, you are still a target.
Right.
Yes.
As you clearly hear in this woman's voice, he's a double major, a master's student, and
Mhm.
he's very accomplished already at 19 years old. This is a
Yeah.
white woman. Was my whole argument against the SYSBM. The white woman is the
Mhm.
one that's targeting that black boy. 19 years old. Would have been in that hashtag if nobody was there.
Yeah, black boy, that's the epitome of black excellence.
Who? No telling what he would have. If nobody was there, he would have been another life taken away from the black community. No telling what he could have been.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Young Dante Wright, just like Philando Castile. And now you have George Floyd's daughter, who's going to grow up with a lifelong trauma, knowing that she could go on to any website, since we're in the age of technology, and see the replays that are already branded in her mind, but to see
mm.
the replays all online of her father being murdered in front of her face. Lifelong trauma.
Wow. It's true.
And this is why I say that all of these things have always been political. And it results from that apathy. But if you notice with the derelict Negro male, unless you're talking about something that is sexually related, if I can't get what I want as far as the woman of my dreams, then I don't give a fuck about anything else. But yet that becomes the very device by which your oppression is continued. These niggas don't really give a fuck about black boys, while they're saying that the black woman doesn't give a fuck about black boys. It is beyond me. You give a fuck about black boys, but you as a black man fail to enact or at least implement the very devices needed to save black boys. All because you're not getting the pussy that you want. But then you'll say SYSBM, but you're saying that black boys, what was that quote the last time I talked to BGS? Uh, Black boys do better under white women? Well, let's examine Exhibit A.
Mm.
This is a black boy about to get murdered by a white woman. The man
Mm-hmm.
that I'm using as an icon was just murdered by a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes the instrument of your own oppression because you fail to be vocal about the things that matter. You think the unintelligent Negro thinks that what matters is putting these women in check.
Mm.
They think what matters is somehow putting the kibosh on this illusionary thing that is created by the media called hormones. None of those things have to do with your oppression, though. But on the same token, on the other hand, when you hear the women complaining about the black man, they don't even understand that the more that they do that to disparage the name of the black man, whenever you need that black man's service in your defense, you don't have it because you're following the same line of programming that mainstream media tells you. He ain't shit. He ain't gonna never be shit.
Exactly.
That also produces that same lifelong trauma that becomes the instrument of the black woman's oppression. So with this division keep going, I could keep wiping your men the fuck out without even you caring, because you'll be apathetic. You'll think it's somebody else's problem. Oh, because Dante Wright has a white mother. Oh, it's Becky's problem. No, it's still the black community's problem.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
Because when
because
that white woman looked at him, she ain't see a white mother. She saw
Yeah,
a
Becky's
Yep.
son ain't
that,
safe either.
that white bitch that killed Dante Wright didn't give. You think what was going through her mind? Oh, this is the son of a upstanding, self-respecting white woman. No, she didn't give a fuck about any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
None of those things matter. And when you look at this, she's wiping out her son's competition or attempting to. Understand, in foreign policy, the way the global war on terrorism was executed was a couple of ways. When you pacify a place, you destroy critical infrastructure, then you come in under what is called humanitarian aid, which is a fancy military word that really means disarmament. Let's calm these people down. Let's pacify them. Let's give them something so they won't be as radicalized, considering that we just landed on it like an invading force, destroying this shit, running through people's houses, doing raids. Oh, and then let's round up all of the radicals. Who are the radicals? These are your high value targets, men of arms bearing ages. What are those arms bearing ages? 14 to 55. Anyone speaking in opposition against the presence of American or its allies' presence being in that region are to be considered radical, highly dangerous, and if they cannot be apprehended, they're to be executed. That's foreign policy. But then you look at American policy, American police policy. It's the same thing. High value targets. California. Don't you know California is one of the states that's still hesitant to return the ownership of the prisons in California back to the state? There's a major federal bill right now that say they want to end all private prisons. Prisons should be in the hands of the state. California is one of those states that's hesitant to doing that. And so when you have this private prison and say, oh, the more people that you lock up, the more you get paid, bonuses, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have an incentive. Who are you going to target? You're not going to target people that look like you.
Right.
Let's go over here with these niggas. Well, furthermore, you go all the way back. Let's go all the way back to the early 1900s, Reconstruction, all the way up until the 1920s, even beyond the 1920s. For those of you who remember the Red Summer of 1919, let's target the business owners, the well-to-do Negroes. They cannot be in a position where they can effectively compete. This is a family who is living in a middle to upper middle class neighborhood. Their son is a master's student. If we let this shit continue, our sons will be subject to laws that he creates. Why? Because if he's a master's student and my son is just another fucking slacker because he has so much privilege and free time that he suffers from affluenza resulting from being white, having the freedom to live without any responsibility and therefore underachieving, as opposed to this black family work their ass off. to get into a neighborhood where they thought it would be much safer than being in those crowded urban centers where the Dante Wrights don't get those rights. And here in this middle to upper middle class neighborhood, having to deal with problems and issues that they would have normally had to deal with if they were living in the inner city. Understand, this is clear terrorism 101. And this is why the world has failed to respect America. If you look around the world right now, America has lost its global geopolitical position as far as policy. Nobody respects it. Why? Because you initiated the global war on terror almost 20 years ago, and yet you're watching cases of domestic terrorism been happening and happening and happening. And instead of practicing that very same domestic policy of putting the kibosh on domestic terrorism, you have let it flourish. And now it illegitimizes your position as far as global policy goes. So much so, you even have American corporations going beyond the ban of dealing with China. Fuck American policy is what the corporation is saying. I'm going to deal with China anyway. This is the problem when you have your position being compromised by your lack of integrity. You cannot impose some kind of law against terrorists in a foreign nation if you won't even execute that same policy at home. This is why you see even the slow roundup of the January 6th rioters. We're talking about, the rioters of January 6th, defaming the Capitol, the very Capitol building, which is the symbol of America's, liberties and freedoms. You know, the thing that literally gives all of these so-called immigrants hope to come here, that they can enjoy the laws and freedoms that they don't have in their countries, in the very buildings in which those policies are made. These terrorists defile. And yet you haven't arrested them, prosecuted them, put them in the jail, under the jail, and yet you have the very act of terrorism being executed by your civil servants.
Yep.
Agents of the state to kill a man in cold blood for a fucking traffic violation, which is not even a crime. It is a statute violation.
Exactly.
Statutory violations don't even come with jail time. There is no statutory violation that you can break that has jail time attached to it. All statutory violations are tickets, fines, things that you go down to the lower courts for. You know, your traffic court.
Right.
But a black man, black boys, black kids losing their damn lives over statutory violations. He didn't put his turn signal on 100 feet before the curb.
Rolling stops and all that BS. Yeah.
He did a rolling stop to the stop sign. He went through a light that was turning red and still yellow. Was still gonna pop him for that. Or do we not remember Laquan McDonald? Again, a minor traffic violation. But this was already being shown to you going all the way back in the days. And we're beating Negroes up for sitting at a counter. Something very minor. Doing a sit-in. Getting water hoses. So, in other words, participation by institutional bodies in oppressing black people. Institutional bodies like the fire department, the National Guard, the police. And it's so funny, there was a brother up here. They tried to prosecute him for using, what do they call it, a chemical agent for using a chemical agent against peace officers. Mind you, the only thing he actually did was throw a tear gas canister back at the police. They tried to prosecute him for
Mm-hmm.
an act of terrorism for throwing an act of terrorism, i.e., through using a quote unquote chemical agent. And in fact, the case was so absurd that the defense even argued that, well, are you admitting that the state is uh, committing a crime by using a chemical agent on the general public?
Right. Can't have it both ways. Come on
Right.
now.
This was big buck hunting. Look at where they live at. They live in Elk Grove, California, one of the wealthier counties in California, mind you. Middle, upper middle, like literally. Do
And
you
you know
know?
what's bad about that too, Cerulean? Is that because for all that we're saying, if the mother wasn't there, this kid would be dead. I'm gonna say that if all the white neighbors weren't outside filming, because there was multiple, some of them standing close by, some of them further up the street filming, then they, as soon as those other cops showed up, that would have been it. Everyone would have been going to jail, getting shot, tasered, everything. Because I've seen them come in and do that too, right? But because of the white people in this upper middle class neighborhood standing there watching, they've been watching the whole time. They're also protesting. They're saying that things are right, whatever. Oh, they can't do their regular cleanup job, right? Where they just come in and there you go. Oh, look, they're all standing there in a group just waiting for us to come and gun them down. Because that's basically what they would have done. And they would have said, because they kept saying it. She kept saying, first she said she feared for her life. That was before anything. She said she feared for her life. Then she called in the fake papers and that the car was something was stolen because she reported theft. Then the other officer came and said, well, this is not a normal stop, is it though? And if it wasn't for all these white people standing and observing and filming in this upper middle class
But listen
neighborhood,
though,
they would have gunned them all down.
but if you listen to the police,
Mhm.
they just told on themselves, right?
Mhm.
This isn't an ordinary stop. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Why?
there's not a lot of black people that live in that neighborhood.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
So
mm,
for a black person to live in, for a black family to live in Elk Grove is actually very unusual.
mm.
Matter of fact, look at the racial demographics of Elk Grove. It's going to tell you a very different story. And it's going to tell you why it's so unusual. It's not a usual traffic stop. Why? Because you're in Elk Grove. You're driving a nice car. In other words, they're telling you quite clearly, just told on themselves, that you're not supposed to be in this neighborhood.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But where have we heard that before? Oh, that's right. The young black man that was walking in his own fucking community being
Yep.
accosted by a white army sergeant.
Yep.
Mhm. This is just ridiculous.
And this is the way the institutional bodies have historically removed, like eliminated the competition, whether it be the business owners, even their children. They don't care if it's men, women, or children. As a matter of fact, I know according to foreign policy, neither the United States military, NATO, or even UN peacekeepers give a fuck whether they're men, women, or children.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay.
The UN says we want to do some testing on a new drug for AIDS, and we're using this as a test bed. Oh, you have some opposition against it? Let's round them up. That's how the UN operates for real, for real. While they are fair seeming in some of their policies, like the policy on UNESCO and global education and making, say, abortion available to the world, so forth and so on. But they're really no different in the way they execute policy. But see, when you hear you talk about the initiative, they say if you really want to combat this, you have to be on the inside of said institution.
Yeah.
How are you going to change this from outside of the institution? Look at what's happening on this camera. Because on from the outside of the institution, she's wearing a Blue Lives Matter mask, which means that she already looks at you as a threat, as a uh, adversarial actor,
Right.
as i.e. the enemy.
Hmm.
Mind you, she's wearing it while there is a ban in California on those masks. I know that for a fact
Okay.
because the same ban happened in New York, and the same ban happened in Chicago. Same ban happened in Texas.
Hmm.
Same ban just actually happened in Minnesota.
Well, I'm gonna. I have a part 2 of this. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And I was gonna wait for Lady Neat to get back, but we only got 45 minutes left of the show. So let me go ahead and play this and share it with everyone.
Okay.
Let's check out the outcome.
All right.
Get your right hand.
Why are you holding this up?
I know why.
You don't want me on your property, remember?
That's not my property.
Sign right here, not admitting guilt, stating you have to get tickets. 12, 14.
Y'all took all these officers over here just to get a ticket. Go in the house that way.
I gotta give him his citation, please.
I'll take it.
Nope, I had you have to give it to him.
Tobias, take the citation. If you could please dismiss yourself from my property, Officer Johnson. Walk in that way and walk in the house and check on your sister. I'm trying to hear what they're saying.
It's also on body cam, so if you ever want to ask for it, you can try and ask.
Oh,
After it's been edited.
so you see how she's trying to cover herself right now, y'all? I'm sorry the live went dead earlier. So the problem is the behavior of your officer, Officer Johnson, badge number 297. And this is Jacobo, badge number 147, you guys. When my son was pulled over, I told him to get his driver's license, registration, and insurance. He has never been pulled over before, never had an interaction with the officer. He got up the car and asked me, was this it? She was still with her flashing lights because we didn't know if it was him being pulled over, but I was like, I think that's him. So that is you. So he said, she started yelling, are you on probation or parole? Get back in the car. And I'm like, whoa, she's coming over aggressively with her hand on her gun. I put my son behind me. And I said, what is he getting pulled over before? He has to answer my question. Asked it 3 more times. Is he on probation or parole? He said no. We all said no. Why would you think he's on probation and parole? At this time, she has his ID, his registration, his insurance, and she stood right there where this officer is. And actually, she was actually acting like a servant of the community. Well, this officer was, and she had a staring contest for about 10 to 15 minutes. And we said, well, if he ran the stop sign, give him the ticket. We'll take care of this in court. She refused to give us the ticket. She said her life is being threatened right now. And she tried to use the different type of verbiage that you guys use in the police reports to add extra charges, saying that I'm verbally attacking her. Not once did I say anything offensive. The only thing that I ever demanded for was for her to give him the speeding ticket and for her to get her hand off her gun because she's the only one out here with the weapon. And yet she is still the only with the weapon. For a traffic violation, I've been in this city for a long time. I have never seen this many cars come. I have never seen one of your officers act in this type of demeanor that she has acted in. And then she was being aggressive with my son. And then she refused to give him the ticket. And that's all we asked for. She said he's being detained. I said, you have about 5 more minutes. Look at the air quality out here. It's hot. I'm sick. I shouldn't even be outside. And she's making a standoff over a stop sign because she thinks he's on parole or probation, and she refused. As one of your officers says, the protocol is for her to run the information. She didn't even call in his name. She didn't call. She called for backup. She could have seen that my son is an honor student, 19 years old at Sacramento State in a master's program. And that's what I was upset about, because she should have just gave her the ticket. What if I wasn't here? She's aggressive. She's trigger happy. She's ready to snap the button off of her gun to try to hurt my son. I don't appreciate that, and I would like to file a formal complaint against her.
So, do you have any questions about the traffic stop or any of that?
Her actions. We can deal with the traffic. We can deal with the traffic stop in court. That's what we told her. We will deal with that in court. But you will not sit up here and hold your hand on your in front of my son and then tell my son to get up. No, my son is staying on the property.
And then tell us to leave. You guys can leave. You guys go in the house, and so she deal with him. She's not gonna deal with him by herself out here.
When she won't take her hand off her gun. To shoot my son?
No, not to shoot your son. I've listened to what you had to say, so I'm going to explain to you some things as well. And I'm not, and I'm just saying this is standard procedure, and I'm not saying that your points are invalid. You guys absolutely have a right to feel the way you feel. It's just that whenever we do a traffic stop, especially, it's extra dangerous for us out there now, especially now.
It's extra dangerous for all these black people that live in this house. No, because y'all the ones with the weapons. It's extra.
You listen. Okay, we can
argue.
What's that I hear? Did I hear you, Cerulean?
Oh no, that was not me.
Okay.
Oh, whoa.
I'm gonna have my say. I'm gonna let you talk. This is how it works. We have an even exchange, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm being this way, and I'll come down. I just want to have my say. It is. I'm not saying that it's not more dangerous for you as African Americans. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying it's, especially in this climate, it's more dangerous for us. So part of our responsibility when we deal with she doesn't know your son.
Wow. Pardon?
She doesn't know who he is, and I'm not saying he's a bad person at all. But we just deal with unknown clients.
the fucking gall.
So it's always officer safety to control me. Whenever somebody
unmitigated gall. Unmitigated.
Because they're not free to leave once we do a traffic stop. And then you, as concerned parents, sometimes it gets misconstrued, because I know you guys are concerned parents, and you came out here only because you're concerned for your son, which is totally understandable. But however,
all this white
look, I'm talking to our neighbors right now, Joseph. I'll be texting them later.
Well, if we feel that it's encroaching on our officer safety and there's a public safety issue, she does have the authority to order you guys back to stay away. She deals with that. And granted,
not on our property.
Well, I could be on every single inch of this property.
Right, but she's. And again, I'm not here. I'm just saying where you are. So was she like standing in the driveway or something like that? Or?
No, she was standing right there looking at us when she came out to the car. But the thing is, now we feel uncomfortable. Even if she was to ask us to go inside, we would never go inside, because now we feel uncomfortable because it's been too long of a standoff. And that's how stuff escalates. We support the police. We won't be doing any more donations after this, because all your officers have been awesome. We're small business owners in the city of Elk Grove, so we rely on you guys to protect our business also. So we're not anti-police. We're not the ones trying to defund the sheriffs. We need you guys. But when we threaten and she has his identifying information, just like she called for backup, she had his ID in her hand. She could have called in his name instead of repeatedly. She thought he was lying when he said he wasn't on parole or probation. That's the issue that we had.
And that's a standard question that we ask.
But 3 times, and then you don't.
And he answered the question.
Okay.
And if you thought he was really lying, run his name. You have his ID right there in your hands. Run his name.
Okay.
We feel threatened right now. Like, I'm literally shaking because I'm thinking my son is about to be the next hashtag.
I've been in that situation. I've been with a policeman with his knee in my back on my way to work with a gun to my head, asking me, who am I? Oh, we got the wrong person. Still in handcuffs for 20 minutes with my face in the dirt.
Our kids will not go through that. So
I've been through that.
better training needs to happen for your officers because her demeanor, it changed when the other officers came because she was being real sarcastic with us. She was trying to agitate us. But I told my son, don't move his hands, even though you could see clearly, literally hopped out of bed to come out here because we heard what was going on and nothing happens on the street like this. That was not okay. Just like you guys fear for your life, every stop, every traffic stop, we fear for ours. And I've been in the city too long. You guys have an officer posted up there on Sheldon and one over there because everybody always speeds there. I ain't never seen this before. I've been pulled over several times. I've never encountered this before. That's not okay.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying.
So what are you going to do about
it? Yeah, shut up then.
I know how to do that because we done did it before. We done sued you guys before. So what are you going to do in regards to your officer?
Well, I'll definitely review the body cam. I have to take your guys' statement into account. I have to take their statement.
And she covered up the body cam a couple of times too with the papers, and we called her out on it.
Okay. Well, it still records audio, so it's still going to. She covered. I don't know what she was trying to hide. I mean, I don't think she has anything to hide.
I have never heard them asking that either, First Lady.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know what she'd be trying to hide, but it still records audio. So whatever it is you guys said and she said, will still be picked up.
But you guys need to understand, just as you guys are scared, we're scared when we get pulled over as African Americans because you guys could shoot and then ask questions later. Right. We're scared. Most of us are unarmed. And the way that she handled this should have been nothing but a 5-10 minute traffic stop. Okay, here you're not admitting guilt. Here your court date is this day. You can go online and do that and give us a ticket. Everything would have been handled. She wanted to escalate this. So please take that in consideration. She was attempting to escalate this further and further. Her sarcastic comments, her standing there just with a blank stare. We're asking for the ticket. Who the hell asks for a ticket? We just want you out of our presence. That's it. That's not okay.
So was the contingent with giving, like, handing the ticket to you guys or having?
No, she wouldn't even go and write the ticket.
Yeah, she wouldn't even write the ticket. The ticket wasn't written until the other officers.
The ticket was written when you came. That's when the ticket was written. We've been out here for how long? You could check the cab log and see how long we've been out here. We've been asking her constantly on live, go write the ticket. We'll take care of this in court. It's not a matter if he ran a stop sign or not. We don't know. She don't know. But if he did, okay. Well,
this was never about running a stop sign. This was about what the fuck is this Negro doing in this neighborhood? What is this Negro doing in this car? Oh, he's complying. Let me manufacture a lie that justifies me having probable cause to pull him out, beat him up, or kill him and search his car, or that gives me an opportunity to plant drugs to justify my own bullshit actions against this man.
Right.
That's what this is about. If you really examine that footage from the night the black lieutenant was being hostily accosted at that gas station, when the sergeant came, does this guy's presence remind you of anything like that? That's what they're taught to do. They're taught to waste your time, to placate you, to try to talk you off the ledge from having a lawsuit, and literally just waste your time, mentally drain you down. I mean, the very audacity saying, "Well, in the climate that we're in more danger. We're definitely in more danger." So obviously, he's telling you that he also carries the very same type of racist idealism as the bitch wearing the Blue Lives Matter mask.
Because I was thinking, why stop him if you that concerned about your life? Oh, I ain't gonna stop him then for no traffic ticket. Forget it.
Right.
And mind you, this actually, if I'm not mistaken, this took place last year. Obviously, it had to be in the summer because she's saying it's hot outside, right?
Right.
Now, this is a time where if I'm not mistaken, most of the country was on stay-at-home orders during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't it ironic that she's sitting there telling me over and over again the same thing, and he's still trying to say some shit in a way to make it to where his officer is not wrong. Clearly, there's a breach there's a breach in protocol.
You know, it's cerulean. Now that you pointed that out, because I was thinking to myself, when did this happen? But you're right. She's wearing a mask. It had to be during COVID. It's hot. It has to be during last summer. You want to know where this guy stands? You want to know for sure he's on the right, not just with Blue Lives Matter, but in general, he's far right because his ass ain't wearing a mask. They have to, right? But he's not wearing one at all. He's not wearing a mask. So you want to know what he stands with the anti-vaxxers. He stands with all of the far right-wing racists. He stands with Blue Lives Matters. It's just gun down more black people. That way we have less black people to deal with in life because their lives don't matter. He stands with that. And if him standing here and talking for 25 minutes without a mask on doesn't tell you that, I don't know what else would.
Actually, I'll even take it a step further. I mean, the dead giveaway was the haircut. That's the signature haircut of the alt-right. You can actually look at it. You can actually look at it whenever they were marching through the streets of Charlottesville with their tiki torches, talking about "you will not replace us" and all that other goofy nonsense. What was their uniform? The Trump-esque, the Trump-esque style haircut with the shirt, right? The polo shirt with the khaki pants.
True.
Now, he's got the haircut down. I remember the whole haircut. I think it was, what was it called? Matter of fact, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Okay. The haircut has a name?
That's going to be interesting.
Right? But I mean, to sit there and for this woman, I'm just sitting there listening to this woman, the effort that these two people made. I mean, to begin with, right? Marriage is not an easy thing, right? People really take for granted the fact that marriage can last a long time. But these two people who sat there and made this marriage work for the sake of their children and worked their asses off to get into this great neighborhood, and then the kind of attention and devoting that they gave to their children, that you can have a 19-year-old master's student. Again, not an easy feat. This is not something that you would just play around with. That means he was done high school early. That means he was dedicated to his studies in university. That's why he's never had any interactions with the police, because all he does is school and studying and bettering himself. He ain't out in the streets like that, you know? And to just see all of that hard work standing right there, this great, well-mannered kid that you molded and groomed into this beautiful young man with so much promise. And just to be standing there looking at this little smart-ass, short, fat, not worth much cop with her hand on her gun, excited to keep telling you, I feared for my life. I fear for my life. Like anything's happening to her. And you're like, wow. In an instant, snap, gone. Snap, gone. Like, that's how quick and fast and easily it could happen. Like, for anyone.
I just put the link in the chat of that signature alt-right hairstyle.
I think that's the one I'm sharing.
It's called the fashion, as a matter of fact.
Wow, the fash. All right. Well then, the fash.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's something I'm Googling myself. Let me see. It says I have an ad blocker. Let's see if it'll allow me to. Yeah, I got an ad blocker. I'm trying to.
Question under that picture: does this haircut make me look like a Nazi? Why, yes. Yes, it does. Doesn't matter. Thank you for asking.
Let's see. All right. So what you shared with me, it won't allow me to because I have an ad blocker. And even though I said it was okay, but his page just still won't allow me to.
Oh.
So you
Well,
would have to share your screen, and then I can, unless you could do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Let's see. Click on that. Put that over here.
Find where I was. Okay, here we go.
he's so jealous of black people. Like, we got so many hairstyles with names, Bantu knots and box braids and stuff. So they had to come up with a white hairstyle with a name, right? Just like, really, the fash. Okay, come on, come on.
I don't know. We're no good. However, you copy everything we do, profit out off of it, and there you go.
Right?
Okay, I don't see anything. Guess you're still working on the. Oh, okay, come
There
back.
we go.
Okay.
That's how America's alt right got its signature hairstyle.
Mm.
There's Richard Spencer, another neo-Nazi supporter. Oh, these are from popular movies here.
Uh-oh.
Brad Pitt movies.
Mm.
Well,
But it's called the fashion.
Okay. Wow.
I've seen that haircut several times.
yep.
Matter of fact, if you go back to the video you're sharing with dude front and center with that with the camera,
Okay.
look at these hairstyles, and then look at that guy's hairstyle.
Okay, let me go on.
It's the same hairstyle.
Okay, share. Elk Grove Part 2. Oops, share audio. I want to do that again. There it is.
And so the haircut.
Oh wow!
The haircut. So the haircut is a dead giveaway. Anytime you see that haircut,
very telling.
Understand the haircut is the symbol of those of the far right. That's their symbol.
Okay.
That's why he's sitting there white explaining his officers' derelict actions.
Let me play the last 2 minutes here.
Pay the ticket, sign them up for traffic school, and it'd be done. But she was trying to escalate this. That's why she called for all this backup people's ears and stuff. We still on our property line. We still in the same place. We haven't went and grabbed a gun. We haven't did nothing. We just wanted the ticket. Just give us the ticket. And if we was really in a position or the life that she thought we were in, her life would have been in jeopardy. She would have been in jeopardy that she conducted herself. Single time I've been pulled over, they've been saying, "Hi, ma'am, do you know what you pulled over for?" It's never been anything disrespectful. They never lacked respect in Elk Grove. Never. So I'm very disappointed in her actions.
Okay.
I got it, Rhonda.
So her behavior, would you describe it as like rude and discourteous?
I would describe it as agitated.
See, he's doing it again. You see, he's doing the shit again, right?
Yeah.
You see that? See, he's doing the shit again, wasting those folks' time.
Yeah, she already explained it. Mm-hmm.
She just told you in great detail what was wrong with her behavior. And then after she's done explaining it in great detail, oh, so how would you describe her behavior? I just fucking told you. So in other words, he's trying to be an irritant because he wants an escalation too.
Wow. And her story had never changed.
And see, you know the funny thing about that haircut? You know where that haircut actually comes from?
Where?
That haircut is actually meant to mimic a beret.
Oh, okay.
See, if you understand like the military style,
Mm-hmm.
It's a play on the military style called the high and tight. A high and tight, it's like classic military style. Just about everyone who's in the military gets that style. No matter black, white, Asian, Latino, what have you, wearing the high and tight. This hairstyle mimics the beret. What does the beret symbolize? The beret actually symbolizes some kind of a urban warfare, guerrilla, a guerrilla fighter. What is a guerrilla fighter? Uses the environment to hide traps in plain sight. What is the guerrilla fighter's purpose? To peel off the enemy's numbers until you've broken their will to fight, to encourage a retreat,
Mm.
or until their numbers get so low to where you can have a full spectrum dominance over the enemy. That's what guerrilla fighters, i.e., American Special Forces, that's really their primary job, to dwindle down enemy numbers, to break the spirit and the will to fight until you have their numbers are so low you have the ability to completely obliterate and crush them. That's why they're trained in a specialized way to where they have these 6, 12, 15-man teams
Okay.
to be able to take on large crowds of people with very small numbers and emerge victorious. That's why they're trained that way. Guerrilla fighters are also meant to hide in plain sight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's what you're seeing here with the haircut. It's really low key. It's a very deep psychological thing with this alt right.
Hmm.
But really, it's far right extremism. You can literally go all the way back. That beret style, which was actually adopted in Nazi Germany,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually the same kind of like what Don Teasy was saying in the chat, the pompadour-esque style, swooped off to the side. It's really the Hitler haircut with the shaved sides.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That mimics the beret.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I see it.
All right, you can look up a picture of Hitler. Look at his hairstyle.
Yeah, Hitler had that.
And you'll see him with that. You'll see him with that puff in the front, swept to one side.
True. Let me play this last minute.
About parole or probation or whatever.
Multiple times.
Multiple
Even though
times.
she had an answer.
She had an answer and she had his ID in her hand. And if she felt unsafe to walk back to her car, she could have used her radio, the same radio that she used to call for backup, and call in his ID in his name and get the information and see, oh, okay, he doesn't have a criminal record. He's clear. Like, that was it. She was trying to escalate the situation to make it something more than what it is. And she called all these people to a stop signs, of like running of a stop sign, if he even ran it. But I'm going to handle my son because he's a 19-year-old driver and my insurance will go up. So I will handle him on that. I don't need her to discipline my son. So what are you going to do in regards to your officer?
Well, like I said, right now I have to review everything. I even have to review the body worn cameras. Like when it comes to like discipline or something, that's actually above my level. But you guys are gonna. What I can do is give, at the very least, give my lieutenant a heads up. And you said you already know how to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna go right online and do it.
So you guys can do the formal complaint, so they'll get notified that way, and then they'll do the same thing. They'll do their investigation, and they'll review all the body worn camera.
Yeah, we know how that's going to end up.
Exactly.
We already know. The damn investigation, boy,
He has
I
to
tell you.
review everything. It's like, oh, sure, that's going to go over very well.
It's it's just a long ongoing time wasting technique to tell these people we're not going to do anything, but to kind of walk them off the ledge because they don't want a suit. Now understand that bitch knew she was in the wrong from the get go, which is why she didn't go any further.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why she started looking down whenever she hung that young man's paperwork on her belt. She was already in the wrong. She was embarrassed. And that officer,
Hmm.
that motherfucker with the Hitler haircut, that alt right haircut,
Uh-huh.
he knew his officer was in the fucking wrong, which is why he stayed there and tried to talk them off the ledge. The same way when the army lieutenant, the black army lieutenant, when he was humiliated, they tried to talk him off the ledge in the same way. Why? Because they knew that they were in the wrong. That's why they started making up all this shit. Like, we don't want this to get back to your command. First of all, if I get into a traffic violation and I'm active duty, even if I was a reservist, if I'm active duty, right, the command is not going to punish me for that traffic violation. You know,
Hmm.
the command will punish me if I execute a level of force, initiate the level of force. But if I'm the initiator, why? It's the breaking of a ROE. But you're not gonna. Motherfuckers get DWIs in the military already. They literally just within the last 10 years started giving people NJPs for DWIs.
Okay.
That's how the military handles it in house. But you're not going to get in no big trouble for something like that. Oh, you didn't pull over right away because you wanted to wait to get to a well-lit area. As a matter of fact, you'll actually be commended by your command for having done that. Why? Because that is a de-escalation tactic.
Hmm.
And you can clearly see that what was the medical corps?
Yes.
So this is a guy that's a people person. He's why he's able to remain calm. Probably
Hmm.
combat medical. I'm
Yes.
suspecting combat medical, which means he's trained to remain very calm even under the most intense conditions.
Yeah, because he
Because of
mentioned
us,
he had a lot of stuff that I think some of the stuff he had with him need to be refrigerated or something because he was concerned about those different things he had.
and what makes it even worse, those tags that he's riding around with on his car, he's got a military tag right there in plain sight in the window in the video. Well,
Yeah.
it should have told you that DOD sticker supersedes any of that other shit that these peons are even talking about. And you would think this is how you know that that fucking so-called Marine definitely was a cherry Marine, probably was a fucking admin step ass nigga, got kicked out and being supported by his wife like another derelict that we know.
He was a kid. I looked, I'm like, he 18, isn't he? He just got there.
No, he's a lieutenant, which means he went through OCS, uh, the officer candidate school, went through selection, got a commission, and I could tell by even his uniform, he's been deployed at least 2 times. He's wearing a deployment patch that says he's actually been in action.
No. I meant the officer that said, I was in the service too, and I know how to comply. I was talking about that young kid that was holding the gun on Officer
Oh
Lucario,
no, that
on
guy was
Navario.
that young dude. He was an old ass, washed up, probably a marginal Marine that fucking got pushed the fuck out. I'm serious. They probably got pushed the fuck out. Couldn't do anything else, and only because he was, who he is.
Mm-hmm.
which basically showed that he has some kind of bias against black people. Oh, we could deputize you uh, so that you can uh, be kind of a bludgeon against people we don't want driving through this region, i.e., black.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how do I know this? Down in El Paso, Texas, the border to Mexico goes through El Paso, Texas. There is actually a military base there called Fort Bliss. Don't you know the Mexicans on the other side of the border actually act that very same way towards motherfuckers going back into the other side of America from Mexico? That's exactly the way the Mexicans on that other side of the border act towards even their own people that might be legal citizens going across the border, hemming them up.
Mm.
And then on the American side of the border, they got a bunch of country rednecks, couldn't hack it for the military, couldn't hack it for the police. Oh, so we'll hire you for border patrol. It's really relatively low danger. And it's just like with the low danger jobs like that, you have dumb motherfuckers that try to create action where there is no action. If you look at that area they live in, you can tell there's not a lot of crime in that area.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You could tell. I bet you that was about half of the damn police force of Elk Grove that pulled up on these people's property.
Mhm. That's why it took
Yeah.
so damn long. Like, I mean, seriously, that took a long time. A cop calling him back up, and then she said theft and false papers and black man. If that was a lot of other places, 2 minutes, easy, flat, they would have been there. That took a long time of them standing there waiting for backup, and we didn't even see it from the very, very start. So they don't have a lot of crime, and they don't have a lot of resources, obviously.
Mhm.
Right.
I want to
Yeah.
know. I want to know. See, this okay. This is what I was saying. So, and again, I'm not disagreeing with Neek at all because I agree. Right. I just think again, you don't raise your percentage by that much, but you do raise your percentage a little bit by complying, and if need be, yeah. Because if you see an arrogant dickwad who seriously just needs his ego stroked because he was a loser in high school and has never been in charge or the boss of anything, so he needs his ego stroked, or he needs you to, show him that, yeah, I understand, master sir, right? Dude, if it's going to get you home alive temporarily, I'm all for it. But, and this is what I said, what you do tomorrow, you live to fight another day. Now, this woman, as she said, she's already sued the cops and what? And I'm sure she will do it again. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that, oh, well, you just report it to the superiors and then they will just do their job. No, they won't. Obviously, they're not punishing nobody. They don't care. The laws are going to try to turn against you. Oh, you know what? We have way too many cops gunning down people in the back of their heads in cars. So we're just going to decide that a car, even stationary, even if you don't have the keys, is now a lethal weapon and you can kill someone in one for no good reason. Right? I mean, like, this is what they do. Right? So we understand that. And this is why I said you need to recruit the media, right? Because you get a video like this and you push, and get everyone to push, it goes viral. Then you go and hit them where it hurts, their pockets,
Well,
because
Right.
ultimately
check this
crime
out.
is a business in America, right? And
Well,
so
check this
we got
out
to do
though.
something.
I just put a link in the private chat. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Elk Grove PD officer wore unauthorized blue flag mask in viral traffic stop video. September 17th, 2020. So this was late summer of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, September 17th. Okay, 2020. I see.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
turn off my ad blocker. It said, "Come on, lady." Let's see what it does. Black screen, come on up. Okay. Okay, so this must be from the body cam. Let me stop sharing this. And let's see here.
Another thing I hope that mother does, and I think any mother should do for their kids, or if you're just a person, an independent person, you get one of those little things that you stick to your window, right? And then you get one of those cameras, the same kind of cameras that Uber drivers have, keep themselves safe, even if it's with your phone or whatever, and you have that on record at all times. Why? Not for anything, just to protect you, just to record what happened. You don't have to be grabbing your phone and holding it to record anything. It's sitting there, it's recording. You know what I mean? Like, we have to get as much footage and as much evidence as possible and blast it to the media. Because when Rodney King got messed up, people went, "Oh, that's terrible." But that doesn't happen that often, right? I mean, it happens so infrequently. And I mean, that's terrible, but it doesn't happen often. And I mean, I'm sure that guy did a lot of bad things. That's what the cops would say, right? So this is why we need the evidence, right? Because without evidence, 3/4 of these things, I mean, for 2 years, right? A guy drove into a pole. And that was the end of it. And then you find out, oh no, he didn't drive into a pole. The cops beat him to death and then blamed all of the injuries on him driving into a pole that he didn't drive into.
That is ridiculous. Yeah, this is a nice neighborhood. That's a nice house. I can see that. That is a nice, beautiful house.
Yep.
And she was standing there protecting her cub.
Yep. She wasn't playing.
Okay. Ain't that about something? Miss Black Lives Matter. Okay, lady.
It's ridiculous. You know, Cerulean, I like that you brought up the fact too, because see, the police and the alt-right wing and all these people, they have set it up so that Black Lives Matters, anyone who says that, and Black people in general, are now the adversary of the police insofar as they are an active threat to the police. Like, somehow or another, we are now on two sides of a war where if we encounter each other, it's just about who draws first. That's what they have basically set it up. And that's what that guy basically said, as though Black Lives Matters is doing anything other than saying, hey, listen, we're tired of you gunning down innocent people, literally innocent. Where I'm talking about the ones you gun down wrongly, who are in the commission of a crime or have committed a crime in some level. No, we're just tired of you gunning down innocent people and children because Black lives don't matter to you, because it's okay for you to shoot first and think later when it's a Black person, because Black lives don't matter to you. And what they are saying is, oh, no. They try to kill us all the time, so it's okay for us to just kill them right back. Like, that was never the argument. That was never the fight of Black Lives Matter or Black people. Black people have never been sitting there saying, hey, listen, let's kill all these police because they're so bad to us. No, all we want is the same thing as that woman said, whether you have kids or not, or what neighborhood you live in. All we want is to not feel terror. Absolute terror when we see those damn lights show up in our rear view mirror. We just don't want to be terrified, because it doesn't matter what we do. If we do everything right, if we forgot to take one thing out of our glove box, that's it. That might be our life today, right? Like, you prepare everything, you grab everything before they even get to the car so that we could just hand it to them, and then and you're scared to touch anything, you're scared to move your hands, right? Black man, do you get out of the car? Do you not get out of the car? Well, if you get out of the car, then they can say you charge them. So you want to stay in the car, you stay in the car. Hey, listen, they were afraid that you were going to use the car to run them down, even though they were standing at your passenger window. I mean, we don't want to feel like that. It's a really simple equation. We are tired of turning on the news every single day. Do you know how many? I think I have 4 or 5 news stories from this week alone, of big stories of cops killing innocent people. Huge. I mean, 5 big stories. Do you know how many of those stories didn't get big that happened other than those 5? That it's like only like what 5% of like the big cases that could be big ever make it to the real news, right? Like to the international news. So we're only getting like 5%. 5 huge cases happened. 5.
I
Like,
believe you. I believe you, and it's sad. I'm tired of it. But we are one to start sharing these type of things on article reaction. So we are, making some type of awareness. And speaking about awareness, tomorrow for the article reaction, same that time anyway, at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll have the first men's panel about progress, and it'll be some men joining the panel discussing some of their encounters with police. They'll be giving examples. So they'll share their stories. Not only that, bring some news articles and clips and everything, as well as problem solve, try to figure out what can we do. I will be working with the gentleman for a while. I like to help them out. I'm here in Chicago. Some of the information I have, and the men are in other cities. They can find out some things. We can put it together, put a package, whatever that may be. I have shared some of those ideas, and I'll give a little bit more a little later. But be sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll definitely appreciate the eyes, ears, share with a friend, because this, you don't really find that conversation had. You hear about it in the news, but no one really sits around and say, hey, this happened to me. The police did this. This is how we overcame. This would happen. So I would appreciate if you do tune in and tell a friend, like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to thank everyone that contributed to the show today. Thank you so much. Those in the chat room, thank you for the commentary. You're always fun. Thank you, everyone that joined the panel. I definitely appreciate the conversation. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Peace out, family.
Indeed. Salute to the nation.
If you're a mom who's struggling with getting rid of extra belly fat, often known as mummy tummy, you're not alone. And if you've tried everything, including dieting and exercising, that targets your midsection and still haven't seen results, that's because the problem is not what you think. Hi, my name is Amadi Coleman, aka the Belly Therapist, certified personal trainer, and mom of 3. I first want to start by letting you know that just like 1/3 of all moms in the U.S., you may be suffering from a treatable medical condition called diastasis recti. It's a separation of the front abdominal muscles that happens during pregnancy. And if the muscles don't reconnect after childbirth, moms may find themselves frustrated by their stubborn belly bulge and even other problems like chronic lower back pain or trouble with unintended urine leakage. I created belly therapy to help moms naturally close their diastasis by strengthening their midsection muscles and to educate them on the real culprit behind their stubborn belly bulge and to get them closer to their desired results. Visit FitTribeWellness.com to learn more and get step-by-step directions on how to perform a diastasis recti self-check. You can have a flatter and stronger midsection. Sign up today and let's get started.